This is going to be an in-depth tutorial on how to decal a Lego clone trooper. So the starting supplies, this will be a series of videos too, by the way, so this is part 1. The starting supplies will be a phase 2 helmet. This one already has the printing scraped off except for the breathers, which you can still use those. If you don't have an official Lego one, you can get a resin molded one from AV Figures. They're pretty nice. Sometimes you have to put a little bit of stuff inside to make it stick better. And then the other part you'll need is a Lego body. A lot of times I'll use these Rebel Stormtroopers. Not a fan of their design, but they do have the Lego clone head and a white body. The only problem is they have the black hips. So you'll either have to buy some white legs or use some for your collection. I'm going to be using these ones. So you don't need these legs anymore. And then you don't need the helmet anymore either. So the first step would be to take the printing that you don't need off the Phase 2 helmet if you're using a Lego one. I don't have any printed Phase 2 ones that I want to scrape off the printing on, so I'll kind of show you how to do it on a Stormtrooper helmet, which be a little more trickier because there's a lot more bumps, but what I usually use is an X-Acto knife, and I kind of just scrape the printing off with the edge of the blade. Alright, so the next step would be removing the printing on legs, unless they're all white legs. These ones aren't. I'm waiting for an order of a bunch of white ones from the legoshop.com, but that will be at least another week or so. But for the body, usually what I do to start off with is I use this foam sanding block. I just kind of rub lightly on top. And make sure if you're doing this, make sure the arms are back so you're not sanding down the arms, or just take them off altogether. That works too, because you're going to have to take them off anyway. Then there's the back side. Alright, and then after that, I'll just kind of scrape off any excess stuff. Another tool I use is actually a wood carving tool I had from before. And this works pretty well for scraping off printing. Printing's gone. Still gotta do the other side, but it's the same thing. And then the legs are pretty similar, except I usually don't use the sanding block, but I prefer to use just blank white legs so you don't have to do this because they're not too expensive. They're pretty easy to get. The next step will be separating all the parts. So you gotta take off the arms. I would leave the hands on because later when you're putting on decals, it's a good way to hold on to it without touching the other decals on it. So yeah, leave the hands on, or you can even like have a piece like this that you attach it to and you can hold it. After you remove all the parts, including the legs from the hip, you'll want to actually attach the hip back to the torso part because the decals, let me see, get decal sheet. This is Arc Jesse, which I will make a tutorial on how to decal them in a later video. But if you can see part of the hip part right there. And so you'll want to keep it on. And once you're all done, later you'll have to kind of separate it with like the X-Acto knife all around and kind of cut through it. But I'll show you how to do that later. So those are the parts you'll need.